Hello, it's Rigers. In today's video, it's time for horse PvP build, which you are waiting for, because finally I have a build which works, at least for me. Hopefully it will work for you guys too. And on the background, you will be able to watch two battles from top resonance, because now I play my full resonance build with horse, and you will see how it works in action. Important thing is that with horse you will not be able probably to get the badge for the most damage, because the damage is of course decreased, but your survivability should be increased by a lot, and your mobility too. So let's begin. As usual, let's start with skills. So my primary attack is Punish. Primary attack is not so important here, but I like Punish more because it gives me 30% increased block chance, which increase our survivability. Then I have Conjuration of Light, because we always need a shield. And then I will maybe surprise you, because I run Condemn, Judgment, and of course horse, and in a few minutes later I will explain you why I run the Condemn and the Judgment, and you will see it from the battle, and I believe you will understand why I run these skills. My paragon is Paragon Brawler as usual, with same 5 skills as always. And my primary, the legendary skill is the Benefactor for more survivability. Now it starts to be more interesting, because let's look on my legendary gems. My max resonance was 9367, and as you can see it dropped to 9011. The reason is that I changed my Hellfire fragment. Currently my Hellfire fragment is here. As you can see, it was level 10 for Hound Coil, so my resonance dropped, but my overall performance is improved, and I can say really noticeable, thanks to the Hound Coil. But now let's start with Gloom Cask. As you can see, I run as an auxiliary here, Roiling Consequence. Don't get me wrong, Gloom Cask is a good legendary gem, 5-star legendary gem for PvE. For Crusader it's not a bad gem, but for PvP, for Crusader, it's not a good gem. So I use Roiling Consequence here as an auxiliary. Then my Phoenix Ashes, but here I use as an auxiliary Wolfheart, because it's increased my damage noticeably. My third is Hound Coil, which is currently rank 6, and even on rank 6 it's increased my damage in offensive stance by 33%, and in defensive stance it's reduced the damage by 33%. So after the Strife in PvP, it's increased my damage by 11% and reduced my damage by 11%. So guys, again, Hound Coil is one of the best legendary gems in the game right now, and it's so powerful, so perfect gem for both PvE and PvP. Then I have More of the Deep. More of the Deep, not a bad gem, nothing special. Void Spark is more as a PvE gem, but relatively good. Bloodsoul Jade, again one of the best gems in the game, which increase your damage and speed. Blood Flow, another S tier gem, which increase your overall damage a lot. And then I have a Starfire Shard. The Starfire Shard, when it was introduced, it was, I can say, S tier gem for PvP, but right now Starfire Shard lost a lot, because thanks all the immunity to knockback effects and so on. So Starfire Shard at this moment is probably, we can say, I can't even say A tier gem for PvP, maybe B tier, B+, and for PvE the punch or the shot from the Starfire shard is very powerful, but unfortunately it's only one shot per 20 seconds. So I can rank it as a B tier. It's good versus bosses, but in overall probably B tier, maybe A tier, but more to B tier. So this is my legendary gem lineup. If you want to know some 2 stars option, then of course Morn School, Pain Clasp, Spectre Glass, Viper's Bite could work well here too for dot damage, and Crimson Bellet, another one who is good, or which is good. So this could be the 2-star legendary gem lineup. If you don't have Roiling Consequence, then you can use Mother's Lament. My cursed properties are 2-piece Atrophied, 2-piece Nettled, 2-piece Detested, and 2-piece Ghosted. But I can say that I constantly changing them, so you can play with them around. They are not so much important, so you can experiment with them. And here let's take a little break from the build and let's look the scores. We are the first one with 7-4, and you can see the team we play versus very strong players, and in my team was Rock. Let's look this druid. Look at his secondaries, almost 9,000 secondaries, everything, and resonance 10,300. Heimdall is a very good PvP player. He is around, I think, 7,000 resonance. But look at our armor, 8,600. And Clinks has 11,000 resonance. At least he has 11,000 resonance wings. But probably he play a lower resonance. I mean lower by it's 10,000, 10,300 almost. And we can look on my team because Rock is unkillable Blood Knight with his build. And look at this, over 9,000 armor and 11,359 resonance. So it was really high resonance. Rion here, he has again 9,400 armor, 9,700 resonance. And now let's get back to my build. So, set items. And here maybe you will be surprised because I run 4-piece Angmet, 2-piece Baron, and 2-piece Vitus. 2-piece Vitus is not surprising, but 2-piece Baron, I run 2-piece Baron because it improved my legendary gem Hound Coil, because Hound Coil works with negative effects, with debuffs, and 4-piece Angmet for the dot damage, for some dot damage, and my damage increased. Because maybe you will ask why I not play 4-piece Mountebank with this build, but actually I want to have some damage and the survivability is not such a big issue, so this configuration works better for me. So that's the reason why I run these set items and not the Mountebank set item. But of course you can focus more on to be a tank, so then I suggest to run 4-piece Mountebank instead of 4-piece Angmet, because if you have Hound Coil, then I really suggest to run 2-piece Baron. Now my legendary gear. Do you remember, guys, the situation with Healthy Sage when our head essence was a dead slot? So unfortunately this is the same situation. Our head essence is a dead slot for this build. I know it's not a good thing, but as I said, this build works well for me, and my grandpa always told me, I don't know if I will say it right, because if the equivalent in English is same like in my language, but he told me if something works, or when something works, it doesn't need to change. And for me this build works, so My head slot is a dead spot, but it is what it is. My chest is Heart of Grandeur. Shoulders are the Yawning Crows. Pants are of course the Cavalier's Coatwear, because this is our horse essence. My main hand is Observer. Second main hand is Wraith Splitter. The reason for Wraith Splitter is that it's improve and or increase the damage of my punish. And my first offhand is Doom Parade, and Doom Parade increase the critical hit chance of my Condemn, and then Torrential Refrain because it's burst all the damage immediately. So as you can see, it's similar build to the Circle of Death. We basically replaced the Shield Glare Essence Lofty Light with Horse, and using the critical hit chance increase for our Condemn. But again, this build works well. Very important here is the rotation, how you use the skills. I will show you after the battles in West March how to do the proper rotation. And the terror affixes, you can use the Condemn, which deals more critical hit damage, but I am holding the Judgment terror affixes because I still run the Judgment and it still can stun the enemies, so I have 3 out of 4. Important stat right now is the accuracy rating to have increased, especially versus the Druids and Blood Knights. Of course, your critical hit chance you will need to high. And let's quickly look on my Reforges, because I run damage to players increased, attack speed increased, duration of beneficial effects increased, damage taken from players reduced, and all skill damage increased. And you can change your attack speed with the increased HP, which I think I have on some of my pieces. Not here, but maybe here. Yes, here I have maximum life increased. Let's look, guys, for the proper skill rotations. But firstly, I want to say, don't forget to work actively with your stances. I mean to switch your offense stance to defense and vice versa, because it's not so long ago when I totally ignored the stances, but when I switched to Druid, I start actively using them, because with Druid it's a really good thing, and now with Hound Coil it's a good thing with Crusader too. So if you are in full life and you are engaging the enemies, it's good to have the offensive stance, and when you need a survivability to switch to defensive stance. And skill rotation is that you will run to the idol, press the skills, press your Conjuration of Light, clearing the idol, and when your Conjuration of Light is going to the end, then you press your horse, and you can prolong your survivability on the idol like here, but it's important to check the cooldown and now use your horse as an emergency escape. So let's do it again. You, let's say then Historical Archivist is the idol. So let's run to the idol, use your skills, use your Conjuration, clear the idol, put as much damage as possible, and then use your horse. Let's kill some enemies, let's tank the idol, and then run to the safety. So this is the rotation with this build, which you can see from the battles. So I hope this build works for you, same as for me. Now let's finish this battle, and we are 4-0 if I'm not mistaken. And again here with horse, because I need to stop the idol, so with horse I am damaging the enemies. Important thing is, don't forget that dot damage which you will receive, for example from Necros, is not reduced, because only skill damage is reduced from enemies. and my skill damage is reduced, but dot damage is very dangerous for us, and actually Necros caused me some problems with their dots. So for this build, important secondary stats are the resistance, probably the most important, and potency for our Hound Coil. I can say that armor penetration and even armor is not as much important, but I would much more focus on resistance. One thing is the dot damage, and the second thing is we are not immune to CC, like we cannot be mounted off from our horse, but we still can be CC'd and be frozen on one place. So resistance, I believe, is still very powerful here, and it should be our first start with potency. So that's it for today, guys. Have a nice day. See ya soon.